you have your notes in front of you of what we're going to talk about?
I had the article up about me that I have not read yet, and I'm really nervous about it. So I was like, I literally sent it to someone. I said, "Hey, read it for me as I get in."
I haven't even read it yet. Can you send it to me right now?
Oh, I haven't sent it to you?
No.
Aw, shame on me.
Are we live right now? We're live. Okay. Just pull up the article. We're all good. What's going on, everybody? Jared here. Welcome to another episode of Today with Jared James. I'm joined, as has been lately, to the point that she actually the other day called it our podcast.
I know. I corrected myself real quick, and I'm like, I mean your podcast.
No, I actually liked it. It was kind of cool, actually.
Is it? Oh, okay.
No, I've been looking for someone to talk to, so this is good. I didn't want you to stop what you were doing. You just had a major thing happen.
I mean, I got interviewed from the Business Journal.
Oh, did you?
And I said, "Hey, girl, what are you up to?"
Yeah. And that article
just
came
a little
out?
something. Yeah.
I haven't even seen it
yet.
No,
it came out,
did you send it to me?
And literally the publisher just sent it to me and said, "Congratulations on the article, and it's published." And they even printed it.
Did you send it to me
yet? Yes, I did. And they put it on like the main homepage, like the actual front page and inside. This is crazy. So.
Where'd you send it?
I mean, I texted it to you, but.
I got nothing.
Well.
I want it now.
Anyways, yeah. So I was looking at it. I'm kind of anxious because I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm
though.
sure it's a great article.
So it's a front article from what you showed. It's the headline article about you.
I know. No, I mean, it's about FyrstUp. That's what it doesn't even say Linda. It says how cool. FyrstUp.
I mean, that's awesome. By the way, we should, so you can send it to me. I think what's happening, because I'm looking at my email and it's like saying not connected.
No.
Let's get off of the Wi-Fi for this place and just jump on data.
We're good.
So yeah, turn that off and then send it to me, because I want to see this while we're actually live right now. And see what they did and see what they used.
It's always the headlines that you're like. What do they title it?
Yeah. Well, you were nervous. Let's be honest. So here it is. Okay. So you were super nervous about. This is not what we're going to talk about today, everybody.
Not at all.
Just so you know.
This is
not some.
Okay, some.
We're gonna, because this just came out. Like, this is literally, we were walking over here and you were like, babe, and you saw it. Yeah. It was the headline article. So basically, they did the Business Journal did an article on yours truly, meaning you. About your venture, FyrstUp, right? FYRSTUP, and just like how it's going, and you're making some waves, and that's definitely happened. We won't go into details right now, but signed some major people and whatever, which is completely awesome. But I'm looking at it right now as we're on here live. Shares her story, launches new app, and look at that. You got pictures of screenshots, and then you go to the next page.
Boom.
More like boo.
Oh, boo.
You and your boo. Me and you were on
Business
there.
partner. I think, no, this is great. It's not even about FyrstUp, honestly, nor is it about you and I. This is very pivotal, like, for where I came from, just because this is the first tech startup after a huge tech fall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
how powerful that is.
Yeah.
And so, and it really gives people a glimpse of, like, hope in the tech space back in California, Central California. Like, hey, there could be a lot of what they call, I'm blanking. Why am I blanking? But like the silver linings.
Like we said last time, blessings in disguise.
Well, totally.
Yeah.
Right. And this is definitely one of them. You know.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. It's what's funny is that we're talking about this right now.
Like
as
a
if it's so exciting,
what they
so
say,
whatever.
A serendipity moment.
We have not even looked at it yet. Like, literally, it could be a bash piece.
I have no idea.
We could be talking about this, and now people are going to go check it out, and it's like Linda, the Antichrist hits the tech industry. Oh, is Tom on? Are you
producer.
on?
Yeah. Producer.
Tom, what's going on, man? I didn't realize you were on back there. By the way, for anybody watching this on YouTube or wherever you're watching it, we're trying something out. We're in a studio, actually, at our offices. And we'll shoot some here. We'll shoot some in the places we've been shooting them. We're gonna move them around. But yeah. So if you see this, that's just what's going on. I don't know what the lighting looks like. I don't know any of that, but I'm sure it's fine. But anyway, we could be promoting this, and like we go read it afterwards, and we're like, oh god, that's a bash piece. That is bad.
I know.
It was like that the other day. I had somebody tag me on Instagram for a story, and it was all in another language. I don't know what language it was. And I had to send it to somebody in the office because I'm like, you have somebody who speaks Portuguese or something? Because I don't want to go reshare this. And it turns out that I reshared something that said, here's the biggest joke in the industry. Yeah. This guy with the picture. So it turns out it wasn't that. But similarly.
Okay, you know what I did, though? I sent it to the company that I ran also had several other portfolio companies.
Yeah.
And I sent it to her and I said, haven't read it. Let me know how it reads. You're the first one that I'm sending this to. And her response was, yes, Linda, it's great. Very, very well written.
Who did you don't have to say it out loud, but just mouth it to me. Who'd you send it to?
She was the product officer, CEO of TATSTAT.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So it came over good.
Yeah, it came over very well.
Well, how about that? Look
I
at you,
know,
girl.
I feel so good.
God, you're gonna leave me. You're gonna get all this fame and notoriety and be like, oh, there
Not
he
at all.
goes.
Not at all. Anyways, sorry. Like you said, it's not the topic that we want to talk about. It
We
just
can talk
happened to
about
be in the
whatever
moment.
we want. We can talk about whatever we want, all right? And that happened as we were walking over here, so kind of cool. That's kind of the point of these podcasts. You talk about whatever is going on, but you just got into town. You know, some people have seen that, like, a lot of times it's like, well, I live in California, he lives in whatever, and yet they keep seeing these podcasts and you're over here. So this is either amazing AI technology that is doing this, or, you know, something else is going on.
I get asked a lot, like, aren't you tired of that? Like, aren't you exhausted every other week, like, you just to unpack and repack?
Yeah. Well, we said,
know?
we didn't really tell people what it is. So we live very non-traditional lives.
Very.
Non-conventional, non-traditional in the sense that your schedule with your kids is very specific, unlike mine, which is not.
First of all, our lives, you and I, and business are, you know, both revolve around our kids' schedule.
Of course. It's actually very true. But
Yeah.
yours are very defined. Every week, it's like you know what it is all the time.
There's set days.
So what happens for everybody who's listening, who's wondered that, and I've gotten messages and everything else, is that just about every other week, especially because the summer I kind of was taken off from events, just about every other week you would fly in on Wednesday after, you know, whatever, and then stay through to Sunday night every other week. So, that part of it sucks, but it's also, you know, I guess I hope kind of worth it. And it allows you to, especially now working with the team, running FyrstUp, meet with the team, be with the team, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But we've got our routines, right? Like that's kind of what we do. I think we're both like creatures of habit. And so you'll come in, and then we have our, you know, you want to tell them what we do on Thursday nights? A lot of times?
Yeah, we definitely have a routine. There are places that we go to. I wish, you know, it's just such a side thing. I really wish you were over here.
Well,
so I could talk to you.
Well,
I hate having him over there.
Oh, wow. Tom, I wasn't thinking that
Anyways.
at all. I'm going to be honest.
Well, we should switch spots because I like talking.
Didn't
I
even
like
cross
to talk.
my mind.
Anyways,
okay?
I just feel very bad. Like this is like me like feeling. I just feel bad.
It's okay.
I feel the love.
But I am talking to you.
Tom's in the corner where he belongs. Okay? Next week, the only thing is he's looking at me. Next week, we're going to turn his chair around.
Oh my gosh.
Okay?
Whatever.
Okay?
Probably behind that wall,
Don't even
actually.
look at me. Yeah. How
Okay.
come you couldn't be here? Because of the setup?
Yeah. Yeah, because I wanted to be able to
Shoot.
switch. And yeah.
Oh, thank God for setups.
Mr. Producer. Okay, so we definitely do have a routine. Like when you find something you like.
You have been wanting to. Let's be honest, though. You've been wanting to find routine specifically with us. Like you like to create new habits together.
It's not. Yes, it's almost
It's like our thing.
It's our thing. It's what we do. It's like we walk to Starbucks. I want to walk to Starbucks.
Yeah.
Freaking Starbucks had to close down for 3 months and to screw that up.
Our
And
thing
it's
is
like,
now
you know,
friggin', by the way, because neither one of us swear.
We don't
And all of a
swear.
sudden, Linda has picked up this friggin' word, which she throws out. Never said it before in her life, and now it's every other sentence,
whatever.
which I think is adorable.
Anyways, and so I like to have certain routines that I just come in and I do, and it's normal.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you
and so,
love coming in. Like, it's amazing. I always forget, like, how do I like, when you come in and then by the time you get to my house and whatever, it's just all just like, you just love it there. Like, you literally, I can see when you walk in, you're like, I love this
every
house.
single time I walk in, and I get prepared for work.
Yeah.
And I say it out loud to you. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like every time.
Yeah.
It's like, but you know what? It's good to remind yourself of blessings that you constantly have. Like, this is gorgeous. This is beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
this is not, you worked hard for it. You know, I do that a lot, even to myself. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of the reasons why, like,
My house on the lake.
I don't know. Yeah. Like pond.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we do have, pond. We do have a routine.
Teddy loves seeing you.
Yes.
Teddy always gets
dog.
super excited. He turns into pogo stick.
I even have a routine with him.
Yeah.
When I get to the house, you know, and before the door even opens,
Yep.
I hide.
Yeah, you do it every time. I'm like, what are you doing?
I hide,
He
and I'm
goes
like,
and hides
oh, is
behind
Teddy
some-
gonna find
yeah,
me?
yeah.
But like, I don't know. It's just, it brings out joy, like in
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
so, We do have routines. So Thursday.
I noticed that you always walk in and you're just like, oh, and you see it, and then you'll see the balcony, and then you go out on the deck, and you go out on the dock, and you're like walking around the yard, and you're just like,
I soak it. You know what? I think it's because I know it's not going to last. I'm going to soak it up.
Because you have to leave on, because you'll literally walk in and you'll start walking around, and you even said the other day you were walking, you just said, I love this place. Like you were just like, it's like a place of.
And you're like, is it your first time?
It's like you always say to me, like if I have my hands on you or something, you're like, oh, that's such a feeling of comfort. Like
it's a
love
sense of security.
Yeah, I love it when you do that. It's like a sense of security.
Yeah.
I almost feel like my house is like security's not the thing, but it's a sense of something for you. Like when you walk in, you're just like, yeah.
I feel like, shoot, I had to take a phone call.
No.
It's my son's school.
Oh, take it then. Take it. We'll pause. Go ahead.
Okay,
Take
sorry.
the call. We're going to pause for a second, everybody.
Me.
Yeah, you always kind of talk about like, and I don't think either one of us have ever really been like touchy people. Like I other than with my kids, right? I've never really been like a touchy person. Like they talk about those languages of love, right? Physical touch type of thing, right? And I don't think you were really either. I could be wrong, but like you always say that like you love it when I touch you because you're just like, oh, it's just a feeling of security. Mm-hmm. It's like a whatever. And it's not that when you're in the house, but I can see it on you when you walk in. It's just this feeling of something, like whatever it is, like whether it's comfort, home, whatever that feeling is of like, this is it. I see it on your face, like when you come in. It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely a moment, quote unquote. I think we've had some big staples like in our lives.
Yeah.
And it's just a remembrance of things that we've overcome.
Yeah.
And I do that with a lot of things. I am not a materialistic person by any means. I like nice things.
Yeah.
I work hard for them, but I'm not a materialistic person. I'm okay with it. But when I buy myself a nice car or whatever the case may be, I look at like all like the headache, the cries, the sleepless nights, like all of it, and I definitely take care of that car. I think that is my trophy.
Yeah.
Like that is, and it's worth everything. And so I definitely
she drives a Pinto, everybody. Just so you know.
I definitely make sure that I continue to remind myself of my blessings. Stop it. You too.
You can't see the reaction. That's what he's going to be my audience now.
But okay, I say this though. Okay. I think it's important because actually I was on a coach's call with you and your coaches, and one of your coaches asked about this, like, and they asked if you would speak about this at the advance, and we'll get to the advance and all that stuff too. But he said, I would love for you to talk about like when, like it was the money aspect and like the success aspect as far as like, I don't even know how he worded it, but
say what you're thinking.
Not is like when is enough when it comes to success? How do you balance that?
Yeah.
Or do you constantly, or are you constantly like reaching for a higher dollar in life? How do you manage it?
Right.
And when I was at MLS Exec, I have heard terrible stories, and I'm sure I'm not going to say the person's name, but a very successful broker out in California in a very large brand committed suicide, and he was very successful, very wealthy, but it was it was an unhealthy mindset of like I needed more, wanted more.
That's exactly right.
And so I continue to go the opposite. I walk into your space and just like, wow, like we've accomplished a lot in a year. In 30 days, a month, or I've accomplished a lot, or I reminded myself what got me to
That's exactly it. You can go back even further, right? Like I always joke around. Me and Jim always joke around. One of my buddies who I'm probably going to have on the podcast, actually. Both of us at one point in our lives as children lived in trailer parks. Like literally lived in like a trailer. And when I say trailer park, that almost sounds like a glorification in the sense that you guys are thinking about trailer parks where there's like double wides and there's like full
really nice RVs.
No, like at one point we lived in a legit trailer, like what would go like hook onto the back of a truck and go camping type of thing. And so you're right. Whenever I see that from you, it's always kind of a reminder. It's like yes, you gotta, because I can very easily, because I'm always like thinking about things and whatever, I can completely ignore looking out the window to that lake and just seeing like the beauty of whatever, and like I'll go the whole and not even notice it. It's just like whatever, and then you'll come in for the first time and just kind of like I'm just like, oh God, that's right. Like, yes. And I've tried to counter that lately by doing a lot of work on the dock and like taking it in and experiencing it and whatever. But I want to touch something really quickly you just talked about, which I've been thinking about a lot lately. And so you brought up the coach when we were on that call.
Correct.
And talking about when's enough, when's this, when's whatever, right? And I think like this, like, and I know this to be true. And I've found this, you know, it's like we spend so much time trying to achieve, trying to get something, trying to be enough, trying to, satisfy this craving for whatever, trying to impress this one, trying to, whatever it is, right? What I've found in my life that no matter, it's like this major balancing act between, because I know that no matter what success you achieve, no matter whatever it is, it only lasts for so long. Like people win the Super Bowl and a half hour later are like, so we're going to try again next year? Like, I guess it's over? Like, is that it? You know? And I've found that to be true with every level of success. Like no matter what it is, no matter how big, no matter how small, the one thing that I know guaranteed is that it's not going to last. And so there's like a couple ways you can look at that, right? You can keep striving and never be enough and never be whatever and just, I guess I didn't achieve the real thing and I guess I didn't whatever. Or you can start to like play this balancing act, which is what I do, which is on one hand, I know that I'm an achiever. That's how my mentality, it's how my mindset is, it's how my whatever. And so I'm always after something, but it's the motive of why I'm after it. I'm not after it to be enough because I'm already there in my head. I'm like, I don't need that for that. But I also understand that there is a need in me to achieve things. But I have to do that with the understanding that, Jared, this is not going to happen and now it's good for life. This is like, you're good.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
You need to bask in the moment of the reality of what's happened. You need to appreciate the fact that you got here. You need to and understand what that means to you and understand, but also understand that it's temporary. And if all of your value is caught up in that, you got a lot of, this isn't going to work out. It's just not. While also balancing that there's something built inside of my personality and many achievers' personalities where we need those milestones, because they're like check marks along the way of you're on the right track.
Yeah.
You're doing something good. You're doing, whatever it is. Right?
And I think it's humbling to go back and be like, wow, I've overcome. There's something powerful about acknowledging like what you've come out of or what you've accomplished or even like what like you need to come out of. Like I need to come out of this. Like it's reconfirming like things in your life. And so anyways, I do that because I look back and there's times I'm like, whoa, I'm surprised I'm even here still. Yeah. Or whoa, I actually got out of that and this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And we could get caught up in we could get caught up in the whirlwind of life and all the depressing things and what I should be doing. Yeah. But when when I walk into your house, it's like, it's not only an oasis, but it is that like reminder of just like everything. Yeah. And then I just become thankful.
Like the touch is a sense of security. The house is like a sense of, a reminder of a, like life is good, right?
It is,
life is good doesn't mean that everything's always perfect. It doesn't mean you're not overcoming things because that's part of life being good is that you need things to overcome. You need, challenges. You need, right? I say it all the time. Superman's not Superman unless he got people to save.
True,
so it makes him Superman, right? But every time a problem comes up, he doesn't go again. It's like, no, this is a chance to be Superman. Yeah. And so, without a doubt. But I think one of the reasons you get so excited is because it's Thursday.
Oh, yeah. And then we have routines.
Is when we go dominate.
Yes. That means Thursday is trivia night. There's no canceling trivia.
I'm a little surprised they haven't renamed it Jared Linda Night. I mean,
we dominate.
Everybody's playing for second place. The only chance they have is if, God forbid, we're meeting friends and we leave early before we can turn.
Let's be honest. I say we dominate. It's more Jared dominates, and I'm just like the supporter, and I bring in like the team effort. Like, it's just me. I just smile.
Unless it's the wrong category.
I mean, Jared is his own. Like you are your biggest competitor. Like you compete with yourself with how quick you write it down. I knew that, or like whatever the case may be. Yeah. But like, you really are a freaking wizard.
With thank you, baby.
You are minus when it comes to geography.
Geography and Harry Potter. Who knew? So one week we're there, and I mean I thought someone was gonna start an antitrust lawsuit against us. Like, we had a monopoly going on that game. We were all out domination, right? And then it came to the final round.
Yeah.
And we had a sizable lead. And category is Harry Potter.
And I don't know anything about Harry Potter. I've not watched any of the movies.
And you probably know more than me.
I haven't even gone on the ride.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I don't know anything.
I'm pretty sure we were 0 for 10.
First of all,
I just said Hogwarts for every answer.
Well, and then so we finally decided to use a lifeline, which you're not allowed to use lifelines, but we decided
Put
to
this
use
out there
one.
publicly.
And Noah, your son Noah, I mean, he apparently is a wizard in this.
Oh, he
loves it.
Wizard.
A wizard.
Right.
It's the second time she's used the word wizard in the last
He
minute
got back
for
to
two different
us
reasons.
after the game.
Yeah.
And
Not that I was messaging him during, trying to figure out what the answers to
We
these
sure
questions
did.
were. But
And-
he waited till after.
Yeah, he's definitely not a lifeline anymore.
No, you're done.
I'll just use Siri.
Done. Okay, exactly. So, not that I'm admitting that I may have reached out to my son on
We
that.
did.
But it didn't
But
help anyway.
it
Didn't help.
didn't.
We ended up coming in
No.
second place
Yeah,
because
yeah.
my son apparently can't get back quick enough for like the 30 seconds that we have to give
yeah.
that answer, whatever. And I was very upset about this.
But trivia night is Thursdays. Like, literally, we will arrange pickups. We will not do certain things. We'll block off calendars. We go to trivia.
We go.
And
yeah.
everyone there knows that.
Oh, how about we walk in and the girl behind, there's that guy that's been there a few times. He sees us. And he's like, oh, whatever. And then she comes over. She knows our drink order. She
The
knows our whatever.
bartender.
And the guy's there going, I'm here every week. How do you not know my order? Like, so I guess you're not memorable.
Yeah, we leave an impression over here.
That's right. That's exactly
No,
right.
but it was a great time. So Thursdays, and then we always meet up with our friends.
We meet up with our friends. That's why we sometimes leave before we claim victory. We meet up with them. And
just so
then-
you know, we win, and Jared gives it back all the time. He did, like, just yesterday. We won first place,
Mm-hmm.
and what did you do? You gave it to the guy that no one recognized at the bar, like that was
That's
there
very
every
true.
single week. Like, you gave your winnings
That is true.
to someone else. Like, Jared never really holds on to it.
That is
we win just to give.
I feel like I'm just going to let that go because
so
I came off
sweet.
looking good on that one. So here's the true story behind that.
No.
What she said is true. I did give it to the guy. So what happened was he's a very nice guy, kind of lonely.
His name is Dominic.
Oh, my God. Why are you doing that? He might hear this.
Hi, Dom.
No, not hi, Dom. Now I can't say what I was going to say.
Oh, really?
He's amazing. Different girl every week. That man is a play, No, like you can tell he's like looking to talk. He's looking to
Yeah,
whatever.
nice guy.
He's a certain age. Like he goes to the bar so that he can, have some interaction and have some whatever. So we try to talk to him and, whatever. And then our friend showed up. We kind of stopped talking to him and, really nice guy, whatever. And so I told the bartender, hey, just put his check on mine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I wanted
Okay.
to bless him. I wanted to be like, hey, man, whatever. And then I saw at the end of the night, a different bartender brought him his check, and he paid for it before I could do anything.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
So I saw that. And so when he was leaving, I just took the gift card and gave it to him. And little does
that's
he
very
know.
nice.
Well, little does he know that I got off easy because I was going to pay his bill.
Oh, yeah.
And instead, I just had to give him a $25 gift card from our winnings and say,
But
here
he
you
was
go.
super grateful for
He was
it.
very,
It was
very,
great.
very. I think for him, he's more grateful about the idea that he felt like we were like being friendly and interaction and like whatever. I think it was more about that personally. So just a nice guy. But anyways, we do that, and then Fridays.
We're in the office all day, first of all.
Very true.
Like,
very true.
it's a gym and office.
Gym, office, yeah.
And then
And it's usually
and
back
it's
to back to
crazy.
back.
It's
Yeah.
back to back to back.
Today was.
But they're and these are not just meetings to kill time. They're very productive, high-level meetings.
If not, I'll get the heck out. I mean,
Yeah.
you heard me in the meeting, one of the meetings today. I'm not going to name which one, but I could tell we were all kind of done. But then everybody's trying to figure out like what can I add to this. I said, guys, if we're done, we're done. I've got stuff to go do
Yeah.
right now. Like I need to go, whatever. Like if we're done, we're done. That's great. Let's go.
Yeah,
And we had
so
stuff to
we
do
had a
because
ton of
we
meetings.
had a bunch of updates and upgrades and all this kind of stuff happening on the FyrstUp app that you have to actually test out, go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So sitting in a meeting is not allowing us to do that. And we have developers waiting on us because they're making changes. They're making before we push
Yeah.
it out to our users and such. And so we had a lot of that going on too. And then we had an interview for a new person that we're bringing onto the team that was going really well. And you were going in and out of the meeting.
So Fridays are like all office, all day, happy hour with the team, and then
Even today, happy hour, like I got to shoot some videos. I don't know if I'm going to be at the beginning of happy hour.
And then
which
5
means you're not
o'clock
either.
comes around, and then it means bin 100. So
Okay.
yeah, like routines. So we have
We're
certain
going to go to
places
them
that we
for
go to.
some kind of sponsorship before, so we know if we should bleep that out or not. But bin 100, I'm just playing.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yeah. No, we go to bin 100 on Fridays, and that is our Cheers, the old show, like where everybody knows your name. We walk in there, and you would think that we are Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie at their peak. Am I wrong? Right? Remember when it was
actually a good representation.
Brangelina?
I'm not that
Remember when that
tall,
was
but yeah.
everywhere and like anywhere they went, whatever? When we walk into bin 100, it is like first off, we have custom-made reservation plaques
Yeah.
at the bar in our
silly.
seats. Okay?
Silly but fun.
Yeah, and ask us how we got that someday. Story for another day. Okay, so we have those at the bar. Everybody, they're coming over, hugging. You do anything? They already know the order. Here comes the drink. You're doing the normal. Everything's whatever. To the point where like I went in there by myself a couple months ago, and a new girl started, and one of the guys told me at the bar that she went back in the kitchen and said, "Who is that guy? Why does everybody like him? Like, what is the?" And it's just our spot.
It's just nice, like that. We're to have routines and create friendships. Like
We go there. The
these
owner
are
talks
true
with
friends
us. Yeah.
now. Like it's very cool, and I think a lot of people are very intrigued, honestly, on how we do it.
Yeah.
Like how we manage a long distance. We call it bicoastal, but you made a comment the other day. But a bicoastal relationship
Yeah.
from like California and Connecticut, and they're
You say
like,
bi-coastal relationship, and it sounds like you just added another gender.
I know.
That's what it sounds like. It's
Anyways,
like-
but like people are super curious about that,
Yeah.
and I think that's another thing. Like when they see us,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh my!" So what's new?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
They
It's
are
like,
too,
What's
and they're always
going
like,
on?
"How do you do it? Where you been?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what stinks?
What?
Is that that's not going to happen for a while because now you're busy and then you're traveling,
I-
and it's
okay,
like
so-
we're not going to have this routine.
Well,
for a bit.
Yeah, on some level.
It's yes.
Yeah, on some level, but yeah, I know.
Like, I don't know what you're.
Yeah, guys, for everybody who's listening right now, yeah.
And your busy season just started, and you just hit Salt Lake.
Okay, so everybody always says like, what's your busy season? What's your whatever? And like to be clear, busy season could be all year long.
If you choose
It's
to.
just that I really, like I've said a couple times on this podcast, I really tried to take the summer and just kind of whatever. I just went and did my first event in a while in Salt Lake City. And that went really well. And when we say like we have a non-conventional, non-traditional relationship where like we make it work and we do whatever, it's a perfect example, right? So we schedule it, whatever. I do the event in Salt Lake City. I rush to the airport. You got a flight that's landing in Salt Lake at the same time. Literally, you landed and got off the plane like 3 minutes before I pulled the car up to the airport. And like, so
We went to the lounge
we
real
plan
quick,
it.
and
We
on the
met in
plane.
the lounge, and then we fly home. Like it's just like, and we say met in the lounge. I was happy with your reaction when we met in the lounge because I came up behind you and I gave you like a little tickle and I came whatever, and instead of her being like hoo like just some who is this, she jumped
I was so
like as
scared.
if I like
I had no idea like that you
she's
were
like,
even
oh
there.
my god, like
I freaked out.
Oh my god, the people around us must have, in
Yeah.
my head I'm going, do something nice to me right now. Let them know that I'm with
Hug
you.
me, hug
yeah,
me.
do something here. Show
No.
some familiarity. Like
Yeah.
this is.
So like really, if we're not on routine, it's like where are you going? Where are we meeting up at? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of business that happens.
We look at the schedule and say, how do we
so
make it
we
work?
figure it out. And I think, you're getting into a very busy season.
Very. Are you trying to depress me right now?
No, but I think this is a great opportunity for you to talk about like how does it look from here to the advance, like on an advanced mindset, not like on your travel schedule going and speaking, but
Yeah.
like what are you doing to prepare? Everyone is Q3 is busy for a lot of people, not just you, the industry right now.
Yeah.
Like you're preparing for this. You're what, 6 weeks out? How many weeks? 7 weeks, 8 weeks?
Sounds like maybe 8, 7, 8, something like that. Yeah.
How do you get into that mindset? Like you're still traveling and you're doing all this stuff for
I'm
everybody
traveling
else.
right up till.
Everybody
Yeah.
else is getting your full attention and energy.
Yeah, that is true. You're going to an event and
Right?
you're like, I got to be present with these people, but yeah, your head is starting.
So at
to,
what point, like, how do you always say there's no such thing as balance.
Right.
Okay. So
But I always follow that up with
what?
it's called being present where you're at.
So how do you do it when you're on the road?
Yep.
You're at your son is starting school next week.
Yep.
That
and
means,
just got hurt.
I know, which is very sad.
How do we not have that on the list to talk
I
about?
know.
So real quick, everybody, we just dodged a bullet. If you're listening to this or you're watching this, you know how much I care about like my kids and their sports and whatever. And my older son is getting ready to go.
I don't even know if you know this.
Oh, so he's getting ready.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't told anybody. So he went in to go ready for his junior year of high school soccer. And
varsity, he's on the varsity team.
Yeah, they're contenders for the state title, like, whatever. And we've really been looking forward to this.
Yeah.
His club squad coach took over as the coach of that team. And so he knows him. I'm like, let's go. This is going to be amazing. So here we're a few days before the first scrimmage of the year, the preseason scrimmage, because you do a couple of preseason scrimmages. And guys, when I say I'm serious about it, I have reworked my schedule. I've got red eyes I'm doing for events.
He watches virtually
for next morning games.
Yep.
I stick around. It's I move around everything around my kids' schedules, right?
Yeah.
Say no to events. Say no to. We just turned down an event because it was on a day that he's playing someone that's a big game, and I'm like, nope. I don't care how much money it is. It's like, nope. So anyway, in practice, defender gets a little zealous.
Oh, it wasn't a scrimmage? It was
No.
a practice?
It was a
Okay.
scrimmage at practice.
Okay.
Defender gets a little whatever, comes in and kind of rams him in the knee. And it's one of those things where when you get hurt, it's oh, no big deal, and you kind of walk it off. Well, he was really hurting. And he's like, oh, this does not feel right. This is not, and then he's trying to run, he's trying to whatever, and he's just like, this is not good. And then he comes home, and he's a tough kid. He's not a soccer player that flops and stays on the ground and all that stuff. If he stays down, he's hurt. This is not good. And so he then has another scrimmage coming up, and he's like, I don't want someone to take my spot. I don't want whatever. And so he sits out some practices, goes and tries to play in the scrimmage, and he is not himself. There was even a conversation between the coach and someone, and the coach says, I found this out through a third party, and he knows Grayson so well. So I love the guy. And one of the guys is like, is Grayson okay? Should he be out there? Because, whatever. And the coach is like, I don't know. He didn't want to come out, but he's sucking right now. This is not,
Get him off.
Yeah. And the guy goes, not that he wasn't, he just couldn't burst.
Yeah,
He couldn't, and he was wing and striker. So his job is run, Forrest. It's get going, right? So anyway, so the other guy goes, well, I think he's just scared of losing his spot or whatever. And the coach says, he's not going to lose his spot with me. He's like, I don't need him right now in the preseason. I need him in the regular season, right? This is doing us no good. Which I told my son that after, which is such a, for him, he needs that affirmation. He needs to hear that from the coach. That does everything for him, right? So we're like, all right, it was still really bad. And finally we're like, we're going to have to go to the doctor. And then you start throwing out the words like MRI and stuff. And it's like, oh, crap. Here we go. And they're thinking, is it MCL? Is it ACL? Is this season ending? We actually were thinking this is season ending, which is going to be a blow to his, it's just to all of us, just no, And so he goes to the doctor and does all the stuff, does whatever. I am in Salt Lake, and so I'm on FaceTime while they're in with the doctor. And long story short, it's a sprained MCL, which is a couple weeks. He's not going to miss the season. It's just wear this big brace, do whatever, but you should be, whatever. So it was, bullet dodged because that was God. Anyway, so yeah. So
I don't know where I was going with
you
that.
were asking about us leading up to the advance with all the crazy season coming
with
up.
everything going on. I'm very curious. Obviously, your level of your calendar workload is different than the typical realtor's calendar workload.
Right.
It's completely different. You don't practice real estate, but you're gearing up to really be this fire hose for people.
Interesting way
in the
of
next
putting it.
7-8 weeks that they also need to prepare to be a student.
Yeah.
I could show up and sit there and have a great time in Nashville.
Right.
But I'm super curious to how do you prepare
They're coming there for something
to teach, and how should one prepare to be a student?
Oh, that's such an interesting question. How do I prepare to teach? Okay, so I want to say this without sounding whatever, but I don't.
And honestly, before you answer, and how do you prepare your coaches? Because your coaches are very involved.
Yeah.
And it's a reflection of you, right?
Well,
and so how do you also make sure that they're prepared as well?
So that's done through delegation. That's through Reagan, our director of coaching, and I'll talk to her, meet with her, say what I need, here's what I get, and she meets with them and talks to them, whatever. and then I'll usually do a stop-in occasionally on those coaches calls and like give them we have a coaches party or get-together, what do you want to say, in my suite the day before the advance, where I kind of lay out too what the expectations are and what we need from you, and here's what we expect, and here's what, so there's a lot of that's going on over and over and over again. But on the preparation for teaching, so it is very interesting because it is different. Like I have notes from the past year, and it's this combination that occurs where I just have this long set of ideas that I look at them, and it's this balance between the practical of here's the thought, here's what makes sense to people, and then the right balance of, and I hope this comes over right, but allow your mind to do what it does, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like great artists, they look at things and it's like they see things differently, or they create something differently, or they just put things together differently because their mind just works a different way, right? And in this regard, when it comes to content, when it comes to teaching, when it comes to how I view the world, when it comes to all that stuff, I'm really good at having an exterior for everybody to see that's very normal, very like, I think I am at least, very normal, very relatable, very fun and friendly and the whole whatever. But there is no doubt that my brain works different. Like there's no doubt. And I look at that as a gift, not a curse, right? So I balance the practical with the gift, so to say, right? Of like, that's what I'm good at. There's other things I stink at, but that's what I'm really good at. And so I make a lot of notes that I don't know if they'll make sense to other people, but they make sense to me. And it's this weird combination of then I kind of put it in, I put it in the order that it needs to go when it comes to me actually teaching it. But I don't, it's not like I'm writing a speech. It's like when someone gets up and writes a prayer. They're going to do the prayer at the wedding. They get up and they read. I need a point, and then I need to have enough structure with a point so I don't go off focus, off whatever. But then I also need enough runway that I'm allowing my mind to do what it does and say, okay, how does this make sense? How does this, like if you ever have a conversation with me individually, one-on-one or like after an event or whatever, a lot of times you'll hear that when I get in that moment of like teaching, I teach very much with metaphors and that kind of makes sense, where it's like you'll see the light bulb go for someone, like you're saying something, it doesn't make sense, and then I'll say it's like ba 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 ba, and they go, yeah, okay, got it. That's how my head works, right? It's like that teacher mentality, right? So anyway, so what I do is I use the time up into the advance. I now know what my sessions are. I know what I want to get across. I know the spirit of what I want to get across. I visualize it constantly. When I run, I visualize it. When I'm just lost in my thoughts, I visualize it. I visualize myself on the stage. I visualize by the time I get up there, I've done it 100 times. I'm just acting out what already is. But what I'm also doing from the practical, I did this on the plane today. I spent 4 hours on the plane organizing notes. When's this going to come in? When's that go in? When's this thought? How did that one? What did I mean by that? Move it over here. Do this. And then I just start, I put it in order, and then I start looking at it, and I visualize myself doing it. Like, it's so weird. Like, it sounds like weird to say that, but, like, it just is. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I sit there, and then I watch the movie of the story I just wrote. You know what I mean? It's like I look at the script, and then I go, and I watch it, right? It's like practice, almost. It's like I'm practicing, but I'm practicing up here. So I find when I say that, there's such a thing as balance, I mean, really what great balancers are great at is they're really great at compartmentalizing and being present in what they're doing. I really try to use, I want to touch on another part of this in a second, but I really try to use like every moment I have. So whether it's, a quick 15 minutes in the Delta Lounge before I go and whatever, where it's like, okay, I know I have this dedicated time on the flight where I'm going to do whatever. If I know I'm going to have whatever it is, I'm spending a lot of time on the advance, heading up to the advance, even though if you looked at my calendar, you would go, when's he focused on the advance? I'm using every block, so to say, right? So I'm doing that. But one of the things when I say being present with where you are, though, you can kind of speak to this a little bit, right? I try to, with the most important things or people in my life, I try to, and I only do this now because of mistakes in the past where I didn't know how to do this. I try to make those people that I'm dealing with that really matter to me feel like they're the only ones that matter to me, right? So, and again, you can correct me if I'm wrong right now, and if that's great, it'll make for a great podcast. Like, it will. I mean, I'm just being honest, it will. You and I talk a lot.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's a lot of times when I'm like, can't talk to you, or, unless I'm on stage, I don't feel like, and again, I could be wrong, I don't feel like you most of the time feel like you're being rushed or you're being, whatever it is. I try to, know when my moments are, know my spots, and kind of like go all in with those people, so to say, and be fully present. It's not balance, it's fully present. But then when I'm done, I was going to say done with you, but I don't mean like done with you, but I mean like when that conversation's over, or that interaction with my children's over, that whatever, I'm very quickly, I know what my next thing, and I'm on to it, and I'm boop, 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 and I'm on that thing, and I'm present in that thing, and I'm, okay, and then I'm on to the next thing, and then I'm on to, okay, we got to get, whatever. And so I think that's what I do, not only just heading up to the advance, it's just that the advance adds a new element of what I need to focus on, and now it kind of comes to fruition where it's like all year I've been gathering these notes, and now I'm herding the cattle. Yeah. And I'm saying, hey, we let you run wild on, Yellowstone here. But we need to bring you back into the barn now. You know what I'm saying? We have 15,000 acres that I've been spreading you loud and going, here you go, you're all over. But now we're grabbing the ranchers, and winter's coming. And now we need to bring you into the farm.
That is,
or barn, I should say.
It's just level of priorities, right, and importance of things.
Yes.
I mean, that's actually very interesting too, because even in sales, I remember having a actually, CEO of Home Services America, Gino.
Yeah.
He was a mentor of mine when I was at Berkshire Hathaway as a VP in Central California. And I remember reaching out to him when I first started with the previous company I was with.
Yeah.
And I said, I am having the hardest time getting in touch with so-and-so from his leadership team.
Yeah.
And I said, he just must be overwhelmed, overworked, just busy.
Yeah.
Gino's like, no. You just have not made it to his important list. He's like, you need to make it of importance.
If somebody else says that, they sound like a prick if they say that. But it is so true.
But Gino's like, no, he has all the time. If it's important enough, he would make time.
100%.
He's like, you just not have made it that important for him.
100%.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And a part of me, and that's one thing about Gino that I do appreciate. He could easily make a decision, and him and I have a great relationship. But he's like, no, you need to make it important for him enough to put it on his calendar.
That's right.
And that's exactly like how you were saying. Like when it's you and I, you make it you and I because it's of value, it's of importance, to you and I.
Right.
And you prioritize things, and there is a balance in a way to where like, hey babe, I can't talk right now. Is it okay if I could call you back?
Yeah.
Because you have something else to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's crazy because a lot of salespeople will say like, oh, so-and-so not getting back to me, or they're not responding. They probably are super busy because they're at a convention.
Yeah.
No, it's you have left an impression.
It's just that it's not. It's like when you have a bunch of unread emails or a bunch of unread things on your to-do list, and you notice that things are getting done on the to-do list, but there's like 5 or 6 that just stay on there for 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not for you to do. You obviously don't care.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. And it really is. I used to say to agents all the time when we would talk about, being too busy. I always talk about being too busy to be productive. Are you there's a difference between busyness and business. And then, by the way, that's a session at the advance. Difference between busyness, B-U-S-Y, and business, B-U-S-I, right? And I say, oh, you're so busy, you have no time. You have no time. You have no time. So you're telling me that if I hand you the winning lottery ticket right now and says this has to be turned in the next hour or you don't collect $156 million, sorry, don't have time.
Yeah.
Oh, you would have time? Oh, you would find a way to get there, right? Because all of a sudden, what happened? The value that you associate with that winning lottery ticket went far above anything else that you had going on at that moment, and now it's going to become a priority, right? And so you're correct. Whether it's with people, you just haven't made the list yet. Whether it's with priorities, whether it's with whatever, yes, it's true. There's only so much that one person can do. There's no doubt about it. It's why you create leverage. It's why you create all of that stuff. Yes, but there's time for anything we want to do, or there's time for anything we value on a level to do it.
Yeah.
And so I use an example because it's one that people can understand and relate to, which is money. We say the winning lottery ticket. But I honestly think of it way more. Obviously, I try to prioritize the things that are more money making for the companies, that are more best use of my time, whatever. But there are other things that matter. There are other things that that add to you just as much, if not more. And that's why when it comes to you and my boys, and that's why they're a priority. Not only because I have a responsibility, especially to my kids, right? But it's selfish too. It's like, don't turn me into a hero. It's selfish because it fills me too. It's who I need to be.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not in good relationship with you, right, that's going to affect everything else that goes on.
Correct.
Right? If I'm not in good relationship with my children, well, great. I have some event that I had to go to, or I have some meeting that, sorry guys, I can't because I have to go to this meeting. Well, now I'm not going to be as effective in that meeting because I know that I've got conflict over here with these, or I know I've done wrong over here. I know that I haven't filled up the tank like I need to out of the interaction that I get from these people.
Yeah.
And so it's like just as much as you give to other people, if you have the right people in your circle, they are giving right back to you.
You know what's interesting though, like with that point, is a lot of the times what we put value in or we consider important, we don't see the return for a long time. And I say that in a lot of things. It could be health, exercise,
Sure.
right? But like I was at a Century 21 Brokers event recently, office meeting, and they were talking about prospecting, right? And you've talked about this before, but I was pulling up some NAR data, and NAR put out a report saying that 20% of return buyers, 27% of return home buyers use the same realtor that they used in their previous purchase. Only 27%. But they were talking about touches and the value of touches and
numbers
prospecting.
I've seen even lower than that, but okay.
Right?
Yep.
But that is insane and I say this because you're constantly doing drip email campaigns, you're constantly doing touches, you're constantly doing social media posts, you're constantly reaching out.
Agents.
Agents.
You're giving them a lot of credit, but go ahead.
Okay, I'm hoping they are, right?
Yeah.
But the return on that would probably be, what's the average, how long does the average person stay in a home before their next purchase?
So it used to be 5 to 7 years. Now it's about 10 years.
Could you imagine doing that for like
10 to 10 and a half, yeah.
5-7 years for that buyer to repurchase?
Correct.
Or like to even consider maybe a referral in between those. Like that,
Right.
That's crazy to see the result in like years.
But it's not crazy. That's the thing.
That's how
It's actually not.
Really?
You know, when I go and take an apple seed and I throw it into the ground, I don't go, hello, it's
Oh,
2023.
absolutely. I get that.
I got an app for this. Where's the apple tree? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Right? There's a planting, a seed, and a harvest. Like that seed plant. Like that's how it works. In everything we do, there is seasonality and process. And if you skip that process, you don't get the real. You know. And part of it, I'm going to talk about this at the advance. Right. Part of it is understanding that screw up is part of what we do. Right. Like any good farmer knows that the only way that they reap an amazing harvest is by using a whole lot of crap.
Oh, well, totally.
You got to have manure.
Yeah.
Manure is a part of the process. And yet you get agents, you get all these people who not only think so short term, but they don't want to try things because they don't want to screw up. And my message to them is, hey, guys, it takes a whole lot of crap to build a harvest. You know, you need to have that manure, so to say, in order to grow. But most agents, people in general, they don't understand the process of seasonality. You know, you don't. So we always say there's like a season for everything, right? And a lot of times people ask me like, you know, what's the biggest mistake and whatever, and I always have all these different answers. But one of the ones I was talking to someone recently about was that people, especially in today's world, today's generation, they want to skip seasons to get to the result. You know, and I use the example because it's just so true. I knew when I was 11 years old that I wanted to be a great dad. I knew that. You know, like it was weird, but it was just like I knew that I wanted to be a great dad someday. Now, if I had a kid in the next year, so that would happen, we missed some seasons.
Yeah.
Because between that time and the time that I had children and do everything I can to hopefully they call me a great dad now, there was seasons in between that the storms and the weather and turned me into. They changed me. They grew me. They taught me. To get me to a place where I finally got to come into my place for something I knew I was supposed to do 14 years prior. You know what I mean? And so most people, because they know where they're supposed to go, they think they're supposed to go there tomorrow. Or today would really be today's generations, you know, or today. And most people are walking around wondering why they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, why they're not hitting certain goals, why they're not. And the truth is they're sabotaging themselves because they're skipping seasons. And all of those seasons are necessary, right?
Do you think, regardless if you're a pro or amateur, the seasons are the same?
What do you mean they're the same?
Meaning, like,
And the seasons are what turn you from an amateur to a pro.
I know, but there's still a pro is still in that harvest. There's still a harvest season for a pro.
Of course.
And there's still okay.
Of course.
Yeah. And I ask that again. I don't sell or list.
Yeah.
And I ask that because pros really more so rely on, like, those that are seasoned in the industry, have been doing it for years, are more referral based. So you don't see a lot of seeding, I think.
Sure.
They're not actively on social as much.
Just so you know.
That's what I see on.
I agree and disagree.
Okay.
And here's what I mean. When I talk to you or anyone else and I talk about agents marketing, what do you think about? Most people think about outward marketing. They think about doing content, doing posts, doing ads, Why aren't you marketing to your harvest? Like, why aren't you marketing to your existing people? Like, marketing is not just something you do when you're trying to go, out there. So, like, when I hear someone say, well, I'm just all referral based, and so...
Because I know a lot of top producers.
So do I.
That are only referral based.
Do you know what else I see right now? Most of those top producers, and I've been talking to a lot of agents lately, while the market, total number of transactions has dropped by about 20% or more in each area, most of the top producers I talk to, their business is down even more. It's interesting. And so there's a lot of reasons for that. I'm going to talk about this at the advance.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is because they got, how I make these statements and people think I'm just making them up so they sound catchy, but it's what I see. And so a lot of times I'll tell people in the last 4 or 5 years with what happened, a lot of us got fat on sugar. And we thought it was real, that fool's gold market. So we were just waiting for people to come to us. Well, the problem is that there's a couple things that happened. Yeah, the market dropped, but also a lot more agents joined the industry. Which means that if you get fat on sugar and you think you don't need to market to your own database, you don't need to reach out to your own people, you don't need to take care of home, right? That ultimately, that the business is just going to happen regardless, just like it always has. But the truth is, no, it's not. Because while those people still buy and sell, they have a lot more options now.
Yeah.
And so when they finally pop like a kernel of popcorn and say, okay, I'm ready to buy and sell again, and you mentioned stats on how many use the same person again, now they pop and they've got way more options for agents. And consumers always make decisions based on ease of use. It's what they do. It's why Uber wins over taxi, because Uber's more expensive, but taxi's more difficult, right? So Uber's easy. Tells me when they're there. I walk out. We're good. I don't have to wonder if somebody's in the back seat. Are they open, not open? Are they on? Are they not on? Whatever. Ease of use. Consumers in every area do the exact same thing, just like real estate consumers. So when a buyer or a seller is looking to go and buy and sell, even in a market that's down 20% on total number of transactions, who's right in front of me? Who was easy? Whose video did I watch? And all those people that have been around forever who just sit back and go, where's everybody? Well, I have a lot of years of business.
Yeah.
Why aren't they coming to me? Why aren't they? It's why their business is down even more.
Interesting.
And one of the main themes you're going to hear from me, we're going to take this one step further. At the advance, I have said for over a decade now, right? Visibility trumps ability. Like anybody who's listening at the sound of my voice right now knows I say that everywhere, right? It's right there with consistency is undefeated, right? But we're going to go one step further at the advance. And so we're not just going to hit visibility trumps ability. We're going to talk about visibility is your responsibility. It is your responsibility.
Yeah.
When the market's down 20% and you're a top producer and now your business is down even more than 20%, it's not because your market's down more. It's because you didn't understand that visibility was your responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not their job to find you, okay? It's your job to make it easy for them. Like, here it is. Here I am, right?
Well, that's another stat. NAR, on one of their stats, says the way that home buyers have found their property was online first. Never through a realtor did they find their property.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I don't want to say never.
No, but what are you going to do?
Very, very low.
What are you going to do? You're going to go on here. You're not going to wait on someone. You're going to go on here.
But you're right. And so, like, data even shows consumers are telling us,
Yep.
I'm online before I ever reach out to anybody.
100, yep.
And I've already made a decision on a property that I want to look at before I've even contacted anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and most of the time they're contacting the listing agent on the property.
Yeah. That's it.
And that's
when you
crazy.
haven't made yourself visible, when you haven't stayed in touch, they have a built-in excuse in their head of, well, it's not my fault. You're the one that didn't stay in touch with me.
Yeah.
You're the one that didn't, And so, like, when you look at, for example, like, I say this all the time, but I don't think people really grasp it. I am a very private person. Like, we even made a comment the other day, we were talking about whatever, and you were like, life of the party, center of attention. And I'm like, I don't like any of that. And I'm like, I think you've misunderstood the ability to do it with liking doing it. Like, it depends who's there, what's going on. But in a normal setting, I'm sitting in the back, right? So I say that because when you look at the amount of content that I put out, right? Just another video. Someone wrote, I almost wish I could pull it up right now. Someone wrote the other day, I put out a video and someone goes, another gem. They're like, where's this guy keep coming out with gold? Like, day after day. I almost screenshot. I was going to put it up in my stories. But my point is, like, when you look at that happening over and over and over and over and over and over, it's not because I wake up and go, oh, another beautiful day to put out some content. I have no interest at all in shooting one more video in my life. Not one.
Which we have to do a few anyways this afternoon.
I have to go right from here and do it. Yeah. I have no interest in it. But not only is it true that visibility trumps ability, it is just as true now when we put the focus back on ourselves. Visibility is my responsibility.
I really like that.
And at this year's advance, I'm going to make sure everybody understands that. Like, we're going to go to the next level of this thing now, okay? Because we need to in the market we're in right now. And again, we're doing pros versus amateurs at the advance, right? So there's going to be a whole thing on skill set, right? And guys, I'm telling you right now, like, I'm gearing up. Like, I'm literally spending time right now just skills. I did a skill set thing in Salt Lake City where I gave like a drop of what we're doing at the advance, just a drop. And a guy came up afterwards. It's so crazy. I called you after. And he goes, that's the greatest speech I've ever heard in my life. He goes, no kidding. He goes, I'm not even kidding. Like that. He goes, I don't even know. Like, that made so much sense. And it was all skill set.
Yeah.
It was all like, you don't need to sound like a sleazy this or a what, but there are pros, and you know a pro when you encounter one, when you've lived in a world of amateurs, right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to do a whole thing on skills, pros, the whole thing. But here's the point, though. The only way that you get to actually show those skills that you have as a pro is if you're an option. If you understand that visibility is your responsibility, right? And that pro mindset is another thing we're going to talk about at the advance here. That the skill set, the mentality, everything we do, right? I'm a big believer that every interaction you have with a potential client, with a client, with these people, a lead you're following up with, a client that you're trying to stay in touch with, whatever it is, right? Every interaction, everything you do is a demonstration to that person of what they can expect when they make the right decision to use you when they buy or sell next. Everything is. That's why when you give up on a lead because they didn't respond after 3 times, you're showing them they made the right decision, because that's what you were going to do when leads came in on their house. That's what you were going to do when you got into a negotiation strategy or session or conversation with the other agent. Everything you do, good, bad, or indifferent, is a demonstration to them of what they can expect when they make the right decision to hire you, or the wrong decision if they did and it was incorrect, right? And we used to have a thing when it came to leads. We would say you follow up until you get one of 2 fingers. One finger that says let's work together, another one that says let's not work together, which I'm not going to show right now. That one's not coming out, right? But on the same level, those people who we said we gave up after 3, and everybody listening right now knows what I'm talking about if you've been in the industry for any amount of time. When you follow up for 8 months, over and over and over and you're like, you don't give up, you don't get offended, you don't get whatever. When they finally do respond, what usually happens is they apologize. So sorry, I've been so busy, whatever, but I'm finally ready to actually whatever. I want to go look at that house. They'll apologize first. And the reason why they called you and worked with you is because everything you did in that 8-month period was a demonstration to them, whether they recognized it or not, on what they can expect when they make the right decision to work with you. And something in them, a little flag went up and went, that's what I want working on my behalf.
Yeah.
This person stood the test, right?
Yeah.
And so when we talk about this pros versus amateurs, we're going to talk skill set, words, all that stuff, but we're also going to talk about what does it mean to be a pro from that perspective. Long term, what does that look like? What does it mean to be a pro from the perspective of your the content you're creating, the visibility you're creating through your marketing? Because it's not just visibility trumps ability, it is visibility is your responsibility.
I do like that.
Yeah, and
that's really
I'm going
good.
to keep saying it because you just keep saying you like it.
I do
so
like
I
it.
That. Yeah,
I really do.
Well, it's good feedback because that's going to be a heavy
Well,
theme.
I mean, I don't
I think it's all
understand
right.
how much clearer it has to be. Like, data shows it. Data from NAR shows it that, hey, realtors are just not on the front focal point of anything. But somehow we're still around, right? And so if I ever decided one day to get my license and become a realtor, like I know I could possibly dominate still only on a social front and have a presence more so. Anyways, super interesting just reading data. And so
it's an interesting conversation. There's like, even right now when you talk about how do you get ready for the advance, whatever, I literally, like, right now have so many things flowing through my head while I'm talking to you that I'm going, don't talk about that.
Okay, but question to you then
don't talk
on
about that.
the other side, because I do want to get to one other thing.
I'm ready to start going to my notes from the advance, so I'm like, don't talk about it. Don't do it.
Okay, so for those that have registered or thinking about it, whatever, how do they prepare to go to an advance
First
that
off,
is really going to be?
Upgrade to VIP.
Okay.
Being for real. You're going to sit up front, like, you're going to be right up in the action.
No distraction.
Front row
right
seats, registration. You're going to have advanced registration. You're going to do a Q&A lunch with me on day one when it's only the VIPs there. You can ask me anything you want while we give you lunch and, do whatever. You get some special merch and all that stuff too, which is cool. But I think you really need to prepare yourself to be open to the idea of fundamentally changing something about your business or being fundamentally challenged on some front. Because I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it from the right place. I'm going to do it with the right intentions and the right motives and whatever. But we need to, we need to defibrillate some people in this industry right now. We need to defibrillate some people in this industry right now. I said this at the event that I was at the other day, and I can't stress it enough. I mean it so much. Like, I joke around and I have fun with things and whatever. But the only reason I do what I do is I genuinely have a care for my audience. Like, it's, I always say when I get in front of an audience, I'm like, I may not know any one of you, but I know every one of you, And it's this weird thing. I can't control it. I didn't create it. It's just in me. Like, I have a genuine care for that audience, And I think we're heading into a season right now where a lot of people are going to struggle who didn't need to struggle. I think we're heading into a season right now where people's families are going to struggle who didn't need to struggle. And I think we're heading into a season right now where there's opportunity in the water, where some people can really dominate if they understand that doing what you did 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago is not going to work now. And the advance is a place where you can come and kind of get that defibrillator. You can get that, And so, look, they should prepare to, like we talked about last time, they should prepare to have fun, they should prepare to whatever, but you need to set expectations up front, and you need to tell yourself up front already, I'm staying both days. I'm staying through all the sessions. I'm taking feverish notes. I'm getting a coach. I'm going to prioritize first, second, third, fourth, what I need to implement. And I'm going to fundamentally change the way I look at this industry and how I run my business in the next 12 months so that myself, my family, the people who depend on me do not pay an unnecessary price that the winter is going to bring. And so I think it's a more relevant and important conference than we've probably ever done. And to everybody listening, everybody's coming, I'm preparing like that. When you see me on stage and you see me joking around and having fun with you guys and the whole thing, don't misinterpret that as being unprepared. Like, I know what I want to talk about. I know where I'm going to go. Doesn't mean I won't ad-lib and have some fun with everybody and the whole thing. But, like, we're going to bring the goods. And now it's just a matter of, who's gonna pick it up.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. So the biggest thing I would tell everybody is, get VIP if you can. I don't know if we have a limit on it, if it's sold out. I have no idea. Hopefully not. After I just said that, if it is, just say Jared said. And then the second thing is create the expectation of what you're gonna do before you get there. You don't wake up every day and decide if you feel like working out.
Yeah.
You do it, right? And so in the same way, don't wait and see if a lunch party runs a little over and you had a couple drinks at lunch and let's skip the rest of the day. No. That's amateur. It's an amateur hour. We came here to learn how to be pros. So figure it out beforehand what your schedule is. Tuesday night, we'll have a blast. I go out Tuesday night with everybody. We hit Nashville. We have a good time, right? But come there to get something. Know what it is that you need. And then narrow your focus into getting that from each and every person you talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would do.
Good.
Yeah.
I want to
shifting. You're like the host today. This is
So
maybe it is your podcast.
No, I know. This is a sensitive topic, and
where are we going right now?
I'm just gonna read a headline real quick.
Oh, I feel like you're about to get me in trouble. Go for it.
I think no, I don't. I think it's important. I'm so far removed from.
You going where I think you're going right now?
I'm not a realtor, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm far removed, and I just want your opinion. I'm going to read a headline.
Oh boy.
And I want you to let me know if this fits the individual. I don't know.
Where you're going.
Or whatever you want to say, whatever you're comfortable saying.
Go ahead.
And this could be. I don't want this to get political, or I don't want people to get upset or anything. Just, anyways. Okay. And I feel like this should be addressed because this is something very hot in the real estate space.
I know exactly where you're going.
Head of a powerful real estate trade group resigns aimed sexual harassment allegations.
Okay.
I want you to describe who Kenny Parcell is to you.
Okay, so this was a tough one this week. First off, I want everybody. I'm gonna say a few things about this. We're not gonna spend forever on it.
No, we don't need to.
But when you say not getting political, I don't think that's the words, but I know what you mean. Everybody who's listening to me right now, I want you to listen at the face of what I'm saying right now, and just stop with your opinion on this, or because we just have certain topics that whenever they're brought up, people go, "Oh, I know what camp I'm in," and we run to our camps. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't care what your camp is, all right? I'm going to try to speak a little truth to this situation and go from there. And the truth is, just about everybody at the sound of my voice does not know the truth. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. So there was NAR's president, Kenny Parcell, who's a friend of mine, resigned this week amid sexual harassment allegations. I'm going to say a lot of different things right now that you can argue both sides and be true on both sides. But again, I want you to take off your camp hat, like which camp am I in, what's my tribe, and kind of hear what I'm saying. Because I think I'm very, on these kinds of things, very kind of level-headed, right? I don't run one way or the other when I hear these things, because I've just seen way too many situations where you have scumbags and there's real things going on, and then I've seen other situations where absolutely nothing happened, but all it takes is to make allegations or not like someone, and you make allegations, and it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. They've now, waters have been muddied, and they got to get out now. It's whatever, right? So when this happened, full disclosure, I was messaging with Kenny just because, above and beyond anything, I know Kenny.
He's a friend.
Yeah. And regardless, true, not true, we weren't there. And to be honest, too, let's be completely clear, too. And I went there with you because I always go to all different sides. If everything was true that has been said, nobody was it's not like somebody was harmed or somebody was, whatever. It was more I feel uncomfortable. He made this joke. He took a picture of his belt buckle. I felt like it was the crotch.
And you're saying if everything
there was a consensual relationship. There was a, whatever. Let's just be clear for a second as I'm saying this that, and if anybody's not familiar with this, we're not talking about rape allegations. We're talking about I feel uncomfortable at work. I feel, there's a lot of feelings, right? And so I say that because the first thing that came to mind for me when I saw this was I know Kenny. I have been behind the scenes with him. I've been at parties with him. I've been after dark with him. And the articles that I read did not describe him at all. At all. And I can tell you that I've got a very small circle. Mm-hmm. And the guys that I hang with. And they're not scumbags. They're good guys. They're good guys, And then I've been at parties, especially, realtor events, whatever. There's some scumbags. There are some flat-out scumbags, okay? Now, again, I wasn't there for any of these. I felt uncomfortable. He made this joke, whatever. But I can tell you right now, Kenny's not a scumbag. That's just, I see all these things online now and all these people making social posts and just burying him. And I'm just sitting here going, even if it were true, he needs some help, he needs some, whatever, but I'm that's not him. That is not the one word we just went over this whole cancel culture thing and everybody's yeah, enough with that. And then as soon as something, bam, it's we're right back to it, And so I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't whatever. But I can tell you personally, the first thing I thought of when it all came down was, I hope he's okay. Meaning like I want you for a second to put yourself in that position where it's like, the whole industry just turns their back based on allegations.
I mean, industry, and then it's blasted. CNN, New York Times.
It's just like
everything.
Oof. And so yeah, I felt that.
This is the voluntary event. This is the position that he is voluntarily.
And so again, I don't know allegations true or not true. I can tell you that I know him behind the scenes, and I've never seen anything like. I know he's like super friendly. And I know that's his personality. That's his whatever. Has he ever like made a joke or a innuendo or something? Probably. I mean, I'm sure I've done at some point, like joking around or something. Like I don't know. I can tell you that I know him personally, and that's his character. He's not a monster. Like he's getting turned into a monster, and that's what I don't like. So I can tell you, my first reaction was more as a person, as a human being. Obviously, if any of these allegations were true. I don't know the situation with any of those females either, and I would want them to be okay. Like I would want that's why I said the first thing I said was because I went and looked. Okay, what are the allegations? Like we're not talking about rape. We're talking about I felt uncomfortable. We're talking about that kind of stuff. And so I've never been in that position. Well, that's not true. Like I mean, we do live in a world where if a woman does it to a man or if whatever, then it's okay.
And what's crazy though? You think about it. Like you think how far this has gone. I mean, you do events.
I've had so many people coming over and doing inappropriate things to me and saying inappropriate things to me and doing whatever.
But do you ever feel like at this point, I hope I say this right, but like something like this just blew up, right?
Right.
And he is now resigned, and it's impacted him significantly.
Oh God.
Who knows if it's going to impact his business? But it's impacted him. Of course.
Right. You just about literally when this happens again, we don't know true or not true. I'm just talking from that perspective because I'm trying to give another side right now because everything I see online is nothing but an avalanche against this man who is nothing like what I'm reading in these articles written by people who don't know him.
So I say this because like now you have this, and it's like, oh my gosh. People line up for you to take photos.
Oh, don't think I didn't think about this.
Do you now think of like, oh shoot, should my hand placement be
different?
different?
Worry about it a lot.
Should
like
it's
part of why I'm going to be honest. Okay, so we're doing a podcast.
Because real quick, I say this because all I have to do is feel one way and say, oh my gosh.
Feelings. I felt like he was saying this.
I felt like that you were.
He made me feel uncomfortable. Oh my God.
I mean, and you have and. I say this because you're so quick with photos. Come on, let's go. It's sign, hug, smile. Okay, nice, bye.
Yeah.
And you move on.
Yeah.
And you don't even think really about much of anything when you're taking a photo. It's literally step and repeat.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
So have you thought about this now?
100%. So it's why it's kind of a thing, like a sensitive. Okay, so if we're gonna get really real, we'll decide whether later to cut this or not. But couple things. Number one, I 100% worry about it because people a lot of times will get very inappropriate with me. And it's like they're allowed to do that, where if I did the same thing the other way, would not be allowed, would not whatever, right? And I do worry because I'm surrounded by so many people and whatever. It's why I don't really go out a lot. It's why it's only if I'm with a friend or I'm with you or whatever, because we do live in a world where if anybody just said something, everybody would love to take me down. They would love to. It'd be the next cool thing that would get everybody's chemicals burning. They'd like, oh, look at that. We got one. And so I do think about that because it's like in a situation like this one with Kenny. Again, I'm going to be very clear. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not excusing it if it is. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is all I heard was allegations. I didn't see anything. I didn't anything. And his career and his life is just like, all you have to do is have enough people that don't like you and say, I felt like this. I felt like he was doing this to me. I felt like someone... if they could try to do that to me. So yeah, it does. It is personal. And also, this is the part I was going to tell you. I've in the past, I'm thinking of one right now that I'm not going to mention names or anything. I've lost jobs in the past, contracts, because I was at events, at whatever. And I'm thinking of one in particular right now where there was a woman who made a pass, whatever. And I was just like, no, whatever. And she kept whatever. And I said, no. And then she went and told the organizer when I left that we had done stuff. And I'm like, what? And lost the contract because of it. And I'm going, what are you talking about? Like, no, she's trying, but no, not a chance. And even had other people that were like, he was with me. Like that, no, that's not whatever. Lost contract. All that had to happen was she said it. That's it.
Yeah.
She said it. And I'm going, this is bullcrap. Like, hey, how about some evidence here? Like, this is absolute nonsense. Like, whatever. And so, yeah, I do get a little sensitive to that whole thing, just because it's. And I'll preface again, not saying true, not saying any of that. My initial reaction when I saw that, and I saw that it wasn't anything that, because my head always goes there, even if it was true, what happened to these women? Like what? Like, because you hear things like rape and these other things, you're like, holy crap, like whatever. But we're talking about, he said this, I felt, he said, you know what, I'm like, okay, so nobody was, it's not like anybody's life was, whatever. My next thing went to, I know him. Like, oh God, like he has got to be in a spin right now. Like this is, and there's nobody, it's like nobody has the courage to be like, hey, are you okay? Are you all right? Because they think that that's somehow a shot at the other. No, it's not. Two things can be true at the same time. I can have absolute empathy and care and everything, that if he said things that made women feel uncomfortable, or if he did whatever, that I don't think that's right, and I don't like that, and I don't want them to feel that I don't. And I can also at the same time look over here and say, are you okay as well? Because let's just say it was true for a second, and knowing his character and who he is, even if it was true, I know that he's the type of person that would be like, oh God, what did I do? I got way too full of I wasn't even paying attention anymore. Like, how did I get down this road? Like, how did I?
And honestly, if it was true, I think he would have resigned so way sooner.
We don't. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who
but
knows?
I would just.
When I saw that, my point is, when I saw that, my reaction was sadness.
Oh, absolutely.
My reaction
it was so heavy.
Okay, so here's a perfect way to describe. I've been trying to verbalize for the past 10 minutes how I feel compared to the industry. And I think that sums it up. I think what's bothered me about the response from the industry is their excitement. It's their absolute excitement to take down somebody who has given his whole life for this industry. And that sums it up, giving his whole life for the industry. He's traveling all over, doing whatever, takes away from his own business to do it, takes away whatever. And again, I don't know, allegations true, not true, if he said inappropriate things or he did. I don't know. What bothered me, and bothers me right now, because it's happening right now, if I open my feed, is the excitement over taking him down when I know him as a person, and he's not a monster. He's not a, whatever. And you contrast that to me and what I'm trying to convey right now. I'm not conveying enabling. I don't know what the truth is. Just like you don't know who's listening to me right now. But the reason why it felt so uncomfortable to me is because I contrasted the industry's excitement with my sorrow.
Isn't that interesting?
Because when I first saw it, true, not true, I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not enabling bad behavior. I don't know. I really don't know. And if it's true and whatever, and he needed to step down, then he needed to step down. I'm not fighting for stepping down or not stepping down. I'm fighting for the people's reaction to it. We gathered around like we were in Rome watching gladiators. And the emperor came over and went, thumbs up or thumbs down, take his head off. And everybody cheered. And that bothers me, right? Because I'm sitting there going, true or not true, that's not the argument I'm making. The argument I'm making is, either way, it's sad. Sorrow. Sorrow for our industry, sorrow for how it makes us look, sorrow for potentially how it affected those women's lives, sorrow for potentially how it's now affecting his life and his family's life, sorrow. So that's my disappointment. Like if there's a punchline here, if there's a clip of me rambling for the last 10 to 15 minutes trying to find how I feel about it, that's it. I am disappointed and I am upset with the difference between our industry's response to this happening or not happening and how I felt. Okay? Excitement versus sorrow.
Yeah.
And I think we need to have a little bit more maturity and understand that two things can be true at one time, and that you can't talk about be kind, everybody be kind, be a good person, rehabilitation, all these things that everybody loves to throw out there until they feel like they're finally on the right side to be able to take someone down. Well, where's your kindness? Where's your empathy now? It wasn't on what didn't fit your.
It's based on conditions.
Exactly.
Right.
100%. And that's what bothered me. And I think that our industry just showed that they have a complete lack of maturity. That's how I feel about
I
it.
know. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It really is.
And so for me personally, if it happened, I'd be right there with the ladies saying, wrong. Hey, let's go walk through it. Let's, whatever. If it didn't happen or did whatever, I'll also be right there with Kenny, knowing that, at his core, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a good dude. Like, he really is a good dude. This didn't all of a sudden, he didn't become a monster. But I know we live in the world today where we like to take people, roast them, put them up on a thing, then put them through rehabilitation classes. 18 months later, they can come back, and now they're a good person again. And it's like, God, guys, can we grow up?
It's super
good people can do
unfortunate.
bad things. Bad people can do good things. Like, it's reality, But what this says about our industry, to your original question, when I see that, I do kind of go, I got enough followers. I got enough people who wouldn't like me. I got enough that could group together. I got enough that could have 29 anonymous people. All I have to be is one person
It's wild
who
to think
doesn't
that.
like someone
It's
and
wild.
say, me and 28 other anonymous. Again, not saying true or not, I'm saying that what it could be. And so, if you ask me, do I ever worry about that and stuff? It's part of the reason why I don't really go out. It's part of the reason why, because it's the pattern of our world. We like to put people up so we can take them down, so we can put them back up again, and then we can take them, whatever. And that's kind of how I felt about that.
Well, I knew he was a friend of yours, and
Yeah.
so I wanted to
He is. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, like I
He
said,
still is a good
regardless
friend
true or
of
not
yours.
true, he's a good. Like
Yeah.
people make mistakes. I don't know if he did or not. He told me when it came out, he's like, these allegations are 100% not true. He's like, basically once the PR gets so bad, you kind of have to have a head to cut off and show everybody.
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. NAR CEO even said that there was
They
nothing.
said that they looked into all of the allegations over and over, and they said, nope, we'll go to trial, whatever. Like, there's no basis for this.
Yeah. So
And then,
anyways,
that was said many times. But then when the New York Times wrote the article, which became a big thing and everybody saw it, whatever, the waves got so big and then there was petitions signed and it started.
Yeah.
And now it becomes bad PR. And it's like, nope, got to resign, right? And again, let's preface one more time. You and I and everybody listening right now, unless Kenny's listening and some of those women are listening, do not know the truth. We don't know.
Yeah.
We honestly don't know. That is not the argument I'm making. And that is not the point that I'm making. Because I know a lot of you who come through your tribes, that's what you're going to want to do. Jared thinks this one. Not the point that I'm making. Okay? We don't know. And that's not making excuses for one side or it's the absolute truth. We don't know. Okay? But it also doesn't mean that if he did do it, he's a monster. It doesn't mean if the women felt uncomfortable and shouldn't have, they're just being over. It doesn't make them monsters. It doesn't mean, go any way you want with it. It's people. We love them.
You're specifically referring to the responses.
Yeah, I'm
But
just.
honestly,
The industry was excited and I was sorrowful.
I mentioned this at our last podcast.
Yeah.
What my dad said. The way that we act shows, it reflects our reputation. The way we respond reflects our character.
Yeah.
And it is wild to look at stuff and be
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, if I was friends with them and I did something awful,
Yeah.
this is probably how they would react also.
Yeah.
And it's like
The response has been
it's-
crazy. Like
it's
when I
just-
look at people
it
responding.
it reflects their character.
When I look at people responding who literally have no idea what happened, they weren't there. And when I look how sure people are and how they are just crucify him, like, whatever, I'm just like, it's like the Bible, like, ye without sin, throw the first stone. How
Yeah.
did we go from, there's some people who say this happened to nothing changed, but within 24 hours, his head is on a pitchfork. I'm like, what just happened? And it's
Yeah.
the mob mentality. It's the mob mentality. And by the way, it happens the other way too. You have people who women say something happened that actually happened. And if the wave goes enough that way, everybody's like, what are you talking about? You whore. You asked for it. You're just another woman asking for it, whatever. And it goes way over to this side. I'm not speaking about whether one is. I'm talking about the mob mentality.
Yeah.
With no basis of facts, with no basis of what you don't know, you weren't there. What I'm talking about is being a human being and understand that no matter what happened, at the end of the day, we have to have a heart for both, because there's something going on here and somebody's hurting and something went wrong and we don't just crucify people. We don't. And that's how I feel about it. So again, to summarize, my biggest problem, my biggest issue with it was how excited everybody was to jump on this and throw his head on a pitchfork, compared to my initial reaction, which was complete and utter sorrow and sadness for our industry and what our industry looks like to everyone else right now. Makes me very sad. It reminds me when I was in church and they would say that prophets would cry when everybody laughed and laughed when everybody cried. And I've never felt like more of a prophet than when I heard this news, because the whole world was excited and, couldn't wait to look at that. Like, it was like, we have something to talk about. We have something to completely ignore. There's people involved. And I sat over here going, am I missing? This is terrible. This is sad. This is sad. So that's how I feel about it.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
I think we're up on time.
I think we are very much up on time.
There's so many things we want to talk about. We just don't get to, but
we'll have to do another podcast.
It's okay.
We'll have to do another podcast.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, for everybody listening right now, I think we talked about some good things today. We always try to have some fun, obviously. There's been just some big things that have happened in our industry. And on some level, I feel like I should just kind of address it and say, how I feel about it. And I think that as an industry and as people, we need to search out wisdom more than we do, somebody that's just making us feel better about how we feel. We need wisdom. We need to be challenged. We need to be. So with a lot of the stuff that I've said today on this show, on this episode, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to push you all a little bit further to think a little bit differently. And don't be so quick to crucify and, whatever. Not because people are guilty or not guilty or whatever, but because there's a different level of maturity, and if you can get to that place where, you can see things from a little bit of a different level and feel a little different and have some empathy and have some, that's where real growth comes from, right? So for some of you, you're gonna be mad about whatever. Some of you, you're gonna kind of feel checked a little bit and kind of be like, dang, that's actually, that makes sense. I didn't think of it from that perspective. But at the end of the day, I need you to know that regardless, I try to really kind of see all sides of things and all. It doesn't mean I'm always right. It doesn't mean whatever. But what I will never do is just read the headlines and then decide how I feel. Okay,
Yeah.
That's how we get into trouble. So with that being said, I hope I see you all at the Advance.
Look forward to it.
October 23rd and 24th. The Advance guys, just go to jaredjamestoday.com/advance. And guys, also, you know what, to be honest, go to Connect with Jared, connectwithjared.com. If you have thoughts on anything I've said, you have questions, you have whatever, you can comment below if you're watching this on YouTube. You can send me a message, on Instagram or Facebook or, I don't know, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok,
all of it.
I don't know, whatever we're on there. I think there's some important conversations, some important discussions. There's some important things happening right now, and how we react is really going to determine who we are. And I just hope the way that everybody's reacting right now is how they'd be okay if everybody else was reacting if they were on the other side. So with that being said, hope we'll see you at the Advance. There'll be a lot more jokes going on. This will not be discussed.
Nope, not at all.
Yep.
It's done.
This is kind of like a one and done. Okay. This is why we do the podcast, a little bit different. So this is going to be a one and done. I will not be talking about this a lot anymore.
No.
But as I always say, first off, Ms. Linda, thank you for
always
joining on this.
Always a good time.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Tom?
You look great in the hat, Mr. Adventure.
Thank you. Do I look beautiful?
You look beautiful.
I
It's tough
appreciate
not to look over there the whole time.
it. I get it.
Oh,
Okay,
gosh.
it's tough. Believe
Great
me.
setup. I think it was I think we did well.
Yeah, what do we think of this setup? By the way, I'd love to hear that in the comments on YouTube as well, guys. What do you guys think of this setup? Do you like it? Not like it?
Lighting.
Yeah, what do we think? Do we like
Everything.
it? It's kind of cool. It's kind of
Different.
a warehousey look.
Well, I can't really see the rest of the place, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah, awesome.
I think so.
All right, well, love you guys. We'll hope you see you at the Advance. Until next time,
Peace out.
I don't really have a send off, so have a good one. Talk to you.
Bye.